We're back, and in order to go ahead and continue messing up the timeline of videos and events, let's talk about the end of the 2 to 3 years evolution storyline that would end with the final feud between Ric Flair and Triple H. And this saga would start following. Oh, by the way, I finally got it. It's time to change the world sort of thing. So I got the Elite shirt. So yeah, clearly I should wear an AEW Elite shirt on a WWE video. So that makes sense. But yeah, anyways, Ric Flair and Triple H are the best of friends in both real life and were in storyline as well. Like Triple H helped Ric Flair out when he was kind of down and out in this current state of his career. Like he's in his 50s. And Triple H would help him around, get him back into great shape in terms of presentation and styling, limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. And yeah. And this would coincide with the creation of the Evolution Group, consisting of him, Triple H, Ric Flair, Batista, and Randy Orton. Which Batista and Randy Orton was pictured as the next two guys for the WWE for the next 10 years, and we all know how that worked out. Because, yeah, Batista went to go Hollywood, and Randy Orton has been stale for a while, and I have no idea what kind of status he's in right now as a face or a heel, since I'm more confused than ever. And Ric Flair's retired, and Triple H is still going at it on a part-time basis, and he's even going to fight Batista at WrestleMania, most likely, as indicated. But yeah, in 2005, Triple H was taking a break following his feud with Batista that coincided in a Hell in a Cell match, which I will get into at some point. And he had come back, teamed up with Ric Flair, or and Ric Flair claimed that Triple H was his best friend because everything Triple H did for him. And Ric Flair was Intercontinental Champion at the time, and this would lead to Triple H shocking everyone. And I was watching this live when I was a kid. I watched this, and Triple H was my favorite at the time as well. Like, I kept wanting to see him back on television. I had no idea why he was gone. But when I was excited to see him back and he was reunited with his best friend, I was like, oh, are we getting this? Triple H would sock Ric Flair in the head with a sledgehammer and link to this basically 9 to 10 minute beatdown that lasted until Triple H threw him in a limousine and smashed the window with a sledgehammer. And Triple H would cut this scathing heel promo where he says he was pissed off at Flair, reveling in this new mediocrity he was doing, and it would lead to this match between Ric Flair and Triple H for the IC title, which shocked a lot of people at the time because the idea of Triple H going after a quote minor title for him, considering Triple H was more obsessed in getting the world title, both in backstage politics wise and in TV wise. And yeah, they kept burying the IC title a lot, like how Triple H condemned the IC title as mediocrity, and Ric Flair was no longer being the guy he grew up seeing. Like, yeah, and a lot of people nowadays kept saying they agree that he was right on to an extent, considering that Ric Flair would do stuff a few years later that he really probably should not have done regarding TNA Impact and how that worked out. Yeah, and even Ric Flair regrets doing that. Like, he should have ended his career at WrestleMania against Shawn Michaels, and yeah, he couldn't. He just couldn't stop. So at the time, it was decided that we would get a match at the inaugural, I believe it was, Taboo Tuesday, which was a pay-per-view concept on Tuesday night featuring Ric Flair, featuring a fan voting match system and this concept didn't work out for Taboo Tuesday to have Tuesday nights, so they moved it to Cyber Sunday, and then they just dropped the concept altogether. So, yeah, that was worth it. Where the fans would vote and choose the match stipulation, and WWE would try to swing it around in order to get it to go a certain way, but really it came down to the fans as far as I know. I'm pretty sure they manipulated the votes from time to time. And Ric Flair was trying to get the fans to vote for a steel cage match, and ultimately the steel steel cage match was decided, and this would lead to Triple H and Ric Flair fighting. And while the IC title was on the line, the commentators had to keep reiterating that it wasn't really about the title. It was about the fact these two now hate each other and how they were once the best of friends. And yeah, this was a slugfest basically, where Triple H and Ric Flair trading chops, and then within 2-3 minutes of the match, Ric Flair's already bleeding profusely. And then this leads to this vicious beatdown by Triple H. He's beating the crap out of Ric Flair, causing him to bleed more and more. And Triple H is bleeding now when Ric Flair finally gets his second wind. This is like the 3-act structure. This is basic 3-act structure storytelling they did with, where we get the rising action, the 3-act structure, basically the climax, and then we would get the falling action, which basically means Ric Flair is coming out on this. And yeah, there were tons and tons of moments with where Triple H got this huge beatdown on Ric Flair, and Ric Flair was not giving up, and Triple H just wanted to be sadistic about it, and all the blood coming out of both of their heads was just adding visual storytelling. I miss the blood visual in wrestling nowadays in WWE. I get they don't want to have injuries, health-wise risks, but, can't they just use blood capsules? They did it with Roman and Triple H. Why can't they do it with all their talent now? It's fake blood. It's in a capsule. They just have to smear it on them and use the sweat to help with the effect. But that's beside the point. So, yeah, Triple H for some reason bled a lot around this time during his Evolution run. I kept thinking, is it because he's trying to mimic Ric Flair to an extent? And yeah, and even though there was a moment where the thing was legal, Triple H got a chain from the structure and the referee took it from him. I'm pretty certain the referee doesn't need to do that, but I think they're trying to add a visual storytelling where where the ref basically is saying, Triple H, you have to end the match. You're not supposed to kill him. And then we get this moment where, in this match, where Ric Flair bites Triple H in the face and starts fighting him and pounding Triple H with punches and more bites to the head. And then we see him do the low blow, what he's known for. And then ultimately, when Triple H wants to finish him off with a steel chair, Ric Flair grabs him by his package. Let's go with that. And yeah, Flair basically pressured down. I'm not going to even say it. And the crowd was loving every moment of it. And Triple H was staggering. And then Ric Flair hit him with a steel chair 3 times. And Ric Flair would ultimately get the victory, defeating Triple H clean to the extent, which was a rarity at a time when Triple H didn't want to lose clean for ego purposes and not because it will sabotage my legacy, aka Hulk Hogan excuse. But yeah, the fact that I'm pretty certain Triple H was all backstage, all giddy, oh my god, I'm gonna work with Ric Flair in a feud. He's my idol. They'd had matches in the past, but working an actual feud, and this was the culmination piece, the ending of that whole 2-3 year Evolution storyline, probably even 4 if you add in the time with Triple H and Ric Flair were buddy in 2002. But yeah, the idea of this being part 1 of the culmination piece, where ultimately this would end with Evolution breaking up, Triple H defeating the guy that was responsible for one of the reasons Evolution happened after losing to both his prodigies that he molded into with Randy Orton and Batista. Orton was lesser of an exception because I think in every single occasion Orton lost every single match with Triple H. So yeah, during this Evolution time. And Batista would be the guy that kept beating him. But yeah, anyways, yeah. This would be part 1 of 2 of their matches, where Ric Flair would retain the IC title, even though no one really technically cared about that title in that time. And like, but I did love the one thing about it, how they like to relive with all the connective tissue. Like they do say, yeah, Triple H was home. Triple H was at home on his break, and he didn't like what Ric Flair was doing with Carlito and how he was spinning the face by Carlito. Like I loved all that old connective tissue they put in. And like instead of just sweeping it under the rug, you just say Triple H did because he's an a-hole. He actually claims he has a legitimate reason and thinks he's the good guy here. Especially when he says that he took the horse out in the back and he pulled the trigger. Like, can we get more promos like that? Where we get connected tissue with people who aren't involved in the story but had a part in it. But like, yeah. I just miss that old promo style where you just hate the villains so much, yet you like them at the same time. I miss the connected tissue you got with the story and everything. But nowadays, it's like, no, we can't do that. That's logic and continuity. We can't do that. And yeah, and like instead of like keeping it just contained to just Ric Flair and Triple H's issue, you got more of the other characters throughout the company being all condemning wise against Triple H's actions. Like you got an actual world build on this. Like this was brilliant idea here, everybody. And I get the feeling this would still technically work now because Triple H is really in charge now in WWE and he has a lot of say in terms of the creative storyline. So really, I'm pretty sure Triple H would try and book it the same way but without the blood visual. So basically, we need pill capsules. We need blood capsules for this. But yeah, this would ultimately end with a last man standing match between Triple H and Ric Flair, which I will cover at a later date. But yeah, this match was good. It was more focused on storytelling and this whole Ric Flair, like, is he really out of it? Is he no longer the dirtiest player in the game? And is he can he still go? Can he still reach at the age of 56? Like there was a 20 age gap between Triple H and Ric Flair at the time. Like Triple H was 36, Ric Flair was 56. And I get the feeling Triple H had fun doing this feud because this was a guy he idolized, he grew up with, he respected more than anybody, and he really wanted to be like him. And I think Triple H did love the fact that he was going to work with one of his real life friends and one of his idols in a match to see Ric Flair could still go at some level. But yeah, Ric Flair would crawl out the door, ultimately winning, and yeah. Yeah, and Ric Flair was cheered even though he was doing because when Ric Flair is called the dirtiest player in the game, back then it meant something as a heel, but when Ric Flair was a face, it was like, yay, he's the dirtiest player in the game! Even though that technically means he cheats a lot. And yeah. And I love the crowd reaction. Like, everyone was excited. Everyone got hyped. Everyone booed the villain. Everyone cheered the hero of the story. It's like, you don't say that anymore. Nowadays, everyone cheers the villain because the villain's doing so well at his job and the good guy's forced down our throats. And then when they actually get a good guy that's organic, they try to condemn it for that. The management tries to condemn it for that. But enough about my rant on WWE Modern Philosophy. This match was great. Taboo Tuesday, as an idea, was a good idea, but it ultimately did not last as long as everyone had hoped, probably. But yeah, Ric Flair and Triple H, they had a solid match. This cage match was good. I heard that their last man standing match was better, but we'll ultimately see. I know who won that match, but like I said, we'll cover that at a later date. So those were my thoughts on Ric Flair versus Triple H at Taboo Tuesday inside a steel cage match for the IC title. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. Stay tuned for more.